So let me get this straight. Did I hear this right? The NBA is back. There is a lot to unpack with this announcement. I mean, come on. The NBA has been on break since what, like March 12th, 13th? It's been a long time. There are teams still vying for the playoffs. There are teams vying for playoff positioning. The NBA even has contractual TV obligations that they have to fill. So lots of different pieces, lots of different team agendas, league agendas, all going into this. So in this video, I'm laying it all out, telling you everything you need to know about the NBA restarting once again. The NBA is back. How's it going, everybody? This is Troy, host of the Half Court Report YouTube channel, and I always enjoy breaking news videos like this. And if anything deserves a breaking news video, it's this. We've been expecting this news, but always good to hear that things are progressing as we would like them to. The NBA's Board of Governors approving a proposal from Commissioner Adam Silver on a 22-team format to restart the 2019-2020 NBA season in Orlando at Walt Disney World. The continuation of the season is running July 31st, with October 12th set as the last possible day for the NBA Finals. We're going to get into all this. We're going to talk about what teams are going to be playing, how the playoffs are going to get set up, what are the long-term ramifications for teams, players, the league as a whole. Going to get into all that. So the first question, of course, who's going to be there? So it's not going to be all 30 teams. It's just going to be 22 teams. And it's not going to be like 11 from one conference, 11 from the other. It's kind of weird how they're doing this. They're going to invite 13 Western Conference teams and 9 Eastern Conference teams. So the way they've decided this is if a team is still in the playoff hunt within 6 games of the 8th seed, then you get an invitation. And that's why there's so few teams from the East, because the East is just so bad. The only team from the East that's not currently in the playoff race that will be restarting the league with the other teams, the Washington Wizards. For the Western Conference, though, several teams coming back in addition to the 8 teams already in the playoffs. So the cutoff line currently is the Grizzlies in the 8th spot. So teams after the Grizzlies that are still in the playoff hunt, Pelicans, Blazers, Suns, Kings, and Spurs. They're all going to be coming back to play in Orlando as well. In terms of how many games are left to play before the playoffs, they're going to do 8 regular season games for each team. And after those are over, there could be a potential play-in game for the 8th playoff spot. If there's a 9th team, as far as seedings go, so a team that would be in 9th place, if they're within 4 games of that 8th seed, the 8th seed and the 9th seed are going to have their own little mini tournament. But the way it works, to keep it fair for the 8th seed, since they're ahead in the standings, they only have to beat the 9th seed team once, whereas the 9th seed team has to beat the 8th seed team twice. So it's either a single elimination or a double elimination, depending on if you're the 8th or the 9th seed. And remember, this is only going to come into play if after the 8 games are over, there's still a chance for the 9th seed to overtake the 8th seed if they're within 4 games. This is unlike anything the NBA has ever done, quite frankly. And it's still a little confusing. I think the details are still being worked out on this, but it's definitely going to add some extra drama to the season. I think the fans are going to like it, and it's going to help bring in extra games and extra revenue for the league, which is something that they definitely need. Some people are saying, okay, this is just giving Zion every chance possible to make it into the playoffs and play likely the Lakers as the 1 seed. I'm not a big conspiracy guy. I don't really believe in the frozen envelope when Patrick Ewing was drafted by the Knicks, that whole thing. We're going to need to get more clarification from the league, so I am awaiting to hear how all that's going to shake out. So in terms of who's going to be there, of course we know there aren't going to be any fans. I assume there's going to be limited media. I've heard that families are going to be allowed to join the players once September rolls around. Players and coaches are going to be allowed outside of their hotels and gyms and playing facilities, but they have to stay within the Disney bubble. So they're only going to be able to eat at restaurants that are on the grounds of the Disney complex. Same thing if there's any sort of extracurricular activities they want to do, for instance, playing golf, something like that. But whenever they go out, they do have to social distance. I would assume masks are going to be either strongly encouraged or required. They're trying to make this as safe as possible. And the NBA is also going to have daily virus testing within the Disney campus environment. Disney employees also have to follow these rules. They're going to have to maintain these similar protocols. For example, no staff allowed into players' rooms. Hallways are going to be kept clear for the most part. They're going to be managed, so there's not going to be lots of crowding. There's not going to be a lot of people milling around various spots. They're going to keep people separate when possible. The way this is going to work, they're going to have games going on throughout the entire day. Almost very similar to Summer League, very similar to what you'd see in March Madness, where it's just one game ends, the one picks up right after. Teams are going to be playing in 2 different arenas on the Disney campus, multiple games a day. Once we get to the playoffs, it's going to be 2 to 4 games per day for the earlier rounds, then 1 to 2 games after that. And since there's no home court advantage, a lot of the higher seeded teams are talking about, okay, what kind of advantage are we going to have? Because we don't have home court advantage, we're all playing together in Disney. Some ideas that have been batted around: the higher seeded team receiving the first possession of the second, third, and fourth quarter. Also, the higher seeded team designated one player who can be called for 7 fouls, or the higher seed receiving an extra coach's challenge. Those are some ideas that have been thrown around. That's not really top priority for the NBA right now. I think all that stuff is going to get worked out once the bigger picture stuff becomes a little bit more clear, but those are also things we're going to keep an eye on. As far as how this is going to impact things like the lottery and the NBA draft and free agency and even next season, I think the draft lottery is going to be sometime in late September. They always have that right around the first round of the playoffs. I think the draft is going to be sometime in late October, let's just kind of say around Halloween. Free agency is going to begin around that time as well. It typically begins right after the draft, so whenever the draft is, free agency I think is probably going to be at least a week or so behind. Summer League, that's going to be more like Fall League now. I expect that to be sometime around Thanksgiving, and then the 2021 season is going to pick back up in late December. I think they'll probably designate Christmas Day as the official beginning of next season, so I think especially for the casual fans, that would be a good time to pick up the season. I was also thinking about some other impacts we could see from this long layoff, and I think about things like a team like Portland, who was missing Yusuf Nurkic for the entire season so far. They've been missing Zach Collins. They'll have both of those guys back, and that would really help them in making a push for that 8th playoff seed. You think about KD and Kyrie with Brooklyn. The Nets have said there's no way that KD is playing. I would assume Kyrie won't play. That's what they've said. I tend to believe them, but I know that people will continue to talk about that with all the money that the NBA is losing. I expect that the salary cap is going to plummet for next season. I think players who have a player option will most definitely pick up that option. I think teams that have team options on certain players, if they're maybe on the fence about whether to keep that guy, I think they're probably going to get rid of him. I've read this is also going to impact how the draft lottery plays out for the teams that aren't good enough to make it to the continuation of the season. For instance, with the new rules, the NBA teams with the 3 worst records, those being Golden State, Cleveland, and Minnesota, they're all going to have an equal chance, 14%, at winning the lottery. Then the next 3 worst records, Atlanta, Detroit, and New York, are going to be behind them a little bit with about a 12.5% chance of winning the lottery. All in all, though, still a lot of work to be done, still protocols regarding health and safety measures that are going to have to be addressed. I find it interesting that the NBA suspended the 2019-2020 season 141 days into the regular season. And it's weird because once July 31st hits, it will be 141 days since the NBA suspended its season. So that's kind of interesting how it's working out that way. That's all I've got for today's video though. Hope you found it informative and that you have a better idea of how the NBA is going to be starting back their season come July 31st. If you enjoyed this video, would love if you leave me a like, and if it's your first time here, or even if it's not your first time here, and you haven't subscribed to the channel and you love the NBA, please do so. I post several times a week about all kinds of various NBA topics. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Troy. This is the Half Court Report, and I'll see you next time. Hey guys, one more thing. Here's some more videos to check out on the Half Court Report channel. I hope you like them, and thanks for watching.